Your consolation prize is that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to Real Madrid, and
You know
not
who?
only that, I think that the irony of this, because your point with Trent Alexander-Arnold has always been that he wants to get the Ballon d'Or. Real Madrid have the Ballon d'Or locked down, and so Vinny, Bellingham, and Mbappe get it, and then year four he gets it, right? I actually think something else will happen that will be even funnier. I think that Liverpool wins. Personally, I think we're winning a treble this year, if not the quadruple. I know you're gonna like talk shit, but like I think that that's happening. Um, I think he's leaving to Real Madrid no matter what. I think that what will happen is that it will end up being the case that Liverpool keeps on being a dominant team under Arne Slot, and we actually have like a midfielder or even a back win the Ballon d'Or, and you have Trent Alexander-Arnold in Real Madrid saying, "Hey, wait a second, that could have been me." I think that
It's
that's what's going to happen.
not impossible. A lot of players that leave Liverpool don't usually go on to do much better, like
That's true.
Coutinho.
Michael Owen being the famous
I
one. I mean,
mean,
Suarez was great at Barcelona.
Owen won a Premier League title. Gerrard didn't.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Gerard did win a Champions League though, which I think he was pretty happy with.
Milan, I wouldn't say they won it as much as Milan bottled it that year, but yeah, sure.
I actually do want to make this point before we get into the picks. By the way, Neck right now is leading 3-2 in picks. I haven't tallied the money, but you're winning on the money as well. So last week, um, I ended up after betting $1,000, winning 1,000, including the money that I bet. So I ended up winning $97.75. Do you know how much money you won last week?
I can't remember my picks.
$151.36. So this was a tight match between us. But anyway, so I do want to make one point about this year with Liverpool that I think is actually kind of important about like our run and why I feel really good about it is that I think that people really underestimate the role of luck in championships. Like I think that pretty much every single champion in pretty much every single sport has gotten lucky to one degree or another. You have other teams go down with injuries. You have other teams, get issues. I mean, and I'm not even saying this to downplay anybody's championships, right? But like, Man City won the Premier League against us, and by 1 point, and Mohamed Salah literally turned. I've done the numbers. He turned from better than Haaland to worse than Antony, like before and after AFCON, right? That's kind of lucky. I mean, like the best player and their big rival turns to shit. Anyway, all this to say that like I think Liverpool this year, we're just getting all of the luck. Every lucky thing is going our way, and that's why I kind of feel like this is our year. Like Man City are imploding. There's no second team that's really stepping up. Chelsea lost to Ipswich. And then in the Champions League, we have our biggest contender is Barcelona, which they feel kind of like a paper tiger, and Real Madrid is self-combusting. So I don't know.
I
I just feel really lucky this year.
think Madrid did some madness tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
It
I,
wasn't against like a bottom ranked team though.
they beat Valencia 2-1. But was it? I think they scored last minute. Yeah. Yeah, they were losing 85th minute Modric, 95th minute. Vinny got sent off. They're down to 10. 5 minutes to go. Modric scores and then Bellingham scores in the 95th
Against
minute.
Valencia, right?
Valencia. And Valencia's one of those teams like sleeping giant. They were a dominant force back in the day. They've just kind of been
Yeah. Do you know where they are in the standings right now?
probably like relegation zone. Like
Yeah, 19.
yeah, they've had this weird up and down thing in La Liga for about a decade now.
I-
They've
I'm
got
I'm just saying that like I feel like everything is going Liverpool's way, is all I'm
oh, I
saying.
wouldn't I couldn't agree more. Like even when like you don't wish injuries, but Allison got injured, I'm thinking, okay, you guys are definitely dropping points. Kelleher steps up and has a worldie and
Yeah.
just damage. Same
Every mistake that Kelleher, every goal that happened against Kelleher, was kind of understandable. Even that terrible one that we were talking about in the other episode where he really fucked that up. Even that one is kind of like I'm not
Some,
holding
some
it
would
against
argue,
him too much.
some would argue Trent should have picked up on it as well, as much as Kelleher. Like I still haven't seen it to this day. I haven't seen that third Newcastle goal, the Fabian Shaw finish. I still haven't seen it. But
Oh, do you want to play it right now?
no, 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 no. I do
Okay.
this thing over the course of a season where if I'm hoping it goes my way and you lot bottle it, this could be one of those moments where you lot drop a couple points. I will watch it in June on full
For the
blast.
first time.
First time, like a premiere to keep me busy throughout the summer months when there's no football on. Like I have these weird things I do. So
I like it. I like it a lot. All that to say, like my kind of fear. I mean, it's weird because my fear with Klopp was the opposite. Like my fear with Klopp, and this has ended up happening, is that Klopp would literally put his pedal to the floor on every single game. It would be like the third round of the Carabao Cup. We're starting Virgil van Dijk. We're starting Salah, even if we have Man City, that weekend, right?
yeah,
Whereas I feel like Arne Slot might do the opposite a little bit, where I feel that he might like throw away one of the tournaments, even though I think that we realistically could actually win the quadruple this year. I think it's very possible.
yeah. Because even as a United fan, even in our glory days, you'd always say like, you know what, fuck the Carling Cup. Let's just play the fucking reserves or even the under 21s. And then it's a question of I hear this from other fans respecting the cup as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I
But
mean, I think you only really have to respect one of the cups. I think you really only have to respect the FA Cup. I don't think you have to respect the
my
Carabao Cup.
opinion. Fuck a quadruple. If you can guarantee trebles, if your squad's good enough to get a treble, I don't think the top 8 teams in the Premier League should be in the Carling Cup, and United aren't part of that
Yeah.
anymore. So we should definitely
Um,
be.
There's one last thing I wanted to say before we got into the picks, but I forgot what it was. By the way, this wasn't it, but fucking Nuno, man. I think Nuno might be coach of the year.
What are they? Second or third? They're third right now, right?
They're third right now.
Possibly.
And they're third on merit.
Yeah.
Like they're there.
No, I've been. I'm gonna sound like fucking hindsight, but I remember this young Serbian defender from Fiorentina for the last 3 or 4 years. He's not as young as now as he is because he was back then. But Nemanja Vidic is my favorite player. So for me, every time a young Serbian defender is on anyone's radar, you're thinking, fuck, Vidic, sign him, sign him, sign him, sign him, sign him. So Nikola Milenkovic, I want to butcher his name out of respect, Milenkovic, young centre back at Fiorentina, well respected over the years, not the most paciest, but gets his head on everything, foot on everything, stuck in. Been on our radar 5 years ago, hardcore. Didn't get him. Kind of went under the radar now. Fiorentina stayed there. Who goes and signs in this summer? And I do notice it under the radar. I'm like, oh, Nottingham Forest, interesting. About I think it was like 20 or
Yeah.
25 million, whatever it was. Alongside a player I've said since last probably 2-3 months now that's really grown on me. This Murillo kid, this young 22-year-old Brazilian centre back that looks fucking he moves like a rabbit, but he's built like an ox. Like this guy can defend.
By the way, I just want to say, if you don't mind me just interjecting, I feel like there are different nationalities that really just have certain positions on lock, I feel. And Serbians just know how to defend. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the Spanish have the best midfielders. I feel like Polish people, our core competency is like attack.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not like phenomenal about it. We have Lewandowski and Zelensky, but like besides that, we're not amazing. But
Might have been before you started watching football. I don't know how much you remember this. Back in the early 2010s, 2012 was his fire year. Blaszczykowski, Polish right winger.
yeah.
Man, this guy, he was under Dortmund. Him and Lewandowski together was fucking disgusting to watch. Klopp's
By the
Dortmund.
way, like one thing about that I really like about this, I was doing like a deep dive into it the other day, but like a lot of the Nottingham Forest players are cast off. Like we have Elanga from ManU.
That was just stupid. That was just penny pinching, money saving, stupid tactics. Ten Hag.
There's Chris Wood
Oh, Chris,
from
he's
Newcastle.
he's having an Indian summer where like he's in the goal scoring form of his life. He's had very ups and down seasons in the league. He's Premier League proven to a degree, But I know what you
Yeah.
mean. That Leicester team of 2016 that actually won the league, there were a lot of random players from clubs where it was like, all right, your time's come and gone.
I
Sprinkle with
I
dust, magic dust, like your
I
Jamie Vardy.
Liverpool, yeah. I think that there's really something to be said about that, where like like getting good value. By the way, speaking of which, and then I promise listeners who are waiting for picks, we're gonna get to the picks. Nunez, did you hear about this?
Wait, sorry, just to finish my point. So
Sorry, continue.
the two centre backs,
Yeah,
foundation, both complement each other perfectly. I don't know why. No, this summer, especially people like Man City, whoever needs defenders should be knocking on Nottingham Forest door. Not even for Milenkovic. I'm talking about this guy Murillo. He should be a 50, 60 million pound transfer minimum this summer. He's
yeah.
earned, if not, and maybe get another year out of Forest, but he's the one. He is a future captain of a team, of a Premier League winning team. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
so he was playing for Corinthians for one season, and then he went to Nottingham Forest. Corinthians are a good squad.
Yeah, but
Um, um,
the likes of Ola Aina, who's their wing back, one of their, I think he's left back or right back. I can't, might be the right back. Brilliant free signing. So they've sprinkled in some good signings alongside a very sturdy, solid structure and the kind of manager that plays that way as well. Nuno is not open, expansive. He's like, look, my way or the highway, it's going to work. And they find themselves third. And their owner,
well,
um,
I,
that Greek geezer, he owns Olympiacos. He's got a little football structure of a few clubs going on. He sounded silly 6 months ago when he was like, Nottingham Forest should be in Europe. Look at him now. Like, if he's backing them and they actually
I feel like that's like. Oh, sorry, continue.
they broke the financial rules and got
Go
that points
ahead.
deduction a year ago. Remember, they got docked 4 points. Everyone's like, "Oh, what the hell, Forest?" They're looking at it now, thinking, "Yeah, fucking worth it. Look at this shit."
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean I think that like with Nottingham Forest, it's interesting. Like you look at a coach like Nuno, and like you kind of have the similar thing, I think, with like coaches like Pep, but like it's kind of a different circumstance. But like Nuno is somebody who needs the keys. Like you need to trust Nuno and you need to give him complete control over everything. And if you don't give him complete control, because like you have teams like Tottenham, you have teams, like Man U is kind of in this boat also, where they bring a coach in who doesn't 100% align with the team philosophy. And because there's such a carousel of coaches, they have the attitude of, we're not going to do what you want because you're probably going to get fired in 2 years. But then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you end up firing the person because they're not performing, right? Whereas Nottingham Forest said, okay, Nuno, here are the keys, do exactly what you want. And we see that with the backing, he's able to actually have a good squad. And by the way, like, you know, this isn't 20 years ago where you had a team get into the top four, but they don't have what it takes to stay in. Right now, if Nottingham Forest gets to the top four, which they very easily could, you can see a huge influx of cash next year where they can actually buy players to stay there. They have an influx of sponsorships, they have an influx of all these things, and now Nottingham Forest are a permanent top four or top six, and another team gets kicked to the curb.
I think the 2 points from there is one is the historical strength of Nottingham Forest, back-to-back European Cup winners, something even Man United haven't ever done in their history, or Chelsea, City only
Or
have one.
Arsenal
They have more European Cups than City and Arsenal combined.
combined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Nottingham Forest, Brian Clough, the legacy of that football club. The reason
That
that
was
guy
88, 89, right?
that was 79-80. You guys won
Oh,
in
79, 80.
78, 79-80 was them, 81 was you guys. So it was a 5 year period of domination.
Yeah.
English clubs in the old format of the Champions League, European Cup. The
European
second
Cup.
thing is you have to look at it now. So second thing, sorry, I was going to say was if I'm looking as the owner at Nottingham Forest thinking, all right, yeah, great, Champions League qualification. You've already bought a shit ton of players. I would look at this, just me. Don't spend that money on players. Keep the players you have, build on that. Buy one or two. They need to revamp their stadium. The City Ground once used to be a pinnacle of it. This obviously going back 30 years, 40 years, was one of the top stadiums in the country. It's needed refurb for a long time. They need to focus on that, bring it up to the standards of a top six club in England. And it's ironic I'm talking about given the state of Man United Stadium. But if you look at Nottingham Forest as a club, they've built a good squad now, good manager in place, get Champions League qualification. With that extra revenue, invest I'd say a good 60, 70% of it into the infrastructure. Build the club
Yeah.
up on foundations.
I think that's fair. I do think that they need to make some moves to solidify themselves because we're seeing this
Yeah,
happening with Aston Villa right now, where Aston Villa are
and you're
ninth right now. Like,
about
you need to make some changes. You need to do some stuff in order to stay in that mix. But I completely agree. I mean, Nottingham Forest, like, are this year what we thought Aston Villa would be, right? Like, we thought that we would have Aston Villa become the new boy at the party. I mean,
yeah,
that's not a phrase. That sounds like a gay sex club or
the kid on the
something. But
block,
like,
the
we
new
we
kid.
we the new kid on the block. Yeah, we thought that would be Aston Villa, but who knows? It might end up being Nottingham Forest. That being said, Aston Villa could always come back next year. Could always have a good year. Could always requalify. Yada yada yada. But it looks like there is a. It looks like I remember 3 years ago. It seemed like the Premier League was just locked in. It was just the locked in whatever it was. But it looks like right now the Premier League is wide open because.
Beauty of the league. That's the beauty of the league. A large amount of commercial revenue, as much as money's ruined the game, the ability that lower clubs, smaller clubs in the league now have of getting that financial access, coupled
Yeah,
with piss poor management of the likes of United, City, the openings are going to be there every couple of years if it keeps going this way. So, as a neutral,
yeah.
amazing. Obviously, as a United fan, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But good,
But,
good
but,
for
but,
them.
but,
Good on
but
them.
I remember what the last point I wanted to have, and this might seem sacrilegious. This might seem, like a arrogant Liverpool. By the way, it's good that we have this up because we can go straight to the picks. But Liverpool right now are running a 4-2-3-1, not a real 4-2-3-1. It's kind of like it's a little bit like a 4-2-2-2 because Salah obviously like plays up, right? Like he's not like playing as like a right mid, he's playing as a right wing. But in this formation, McAllister and Gravenbach are basically playing the Kimmich and Goretzka role. Do you think it's fair to say that McAllister Gravenbach are as good, if not better, than Kimmich Goretzka at this point?
Right
Like,
now,
like right now, if ManU was playing at 4-2-3-1, would you rather have McAllister Gravenbach or Kimmich Goretzka?
oh, I mean, for me right now, Gravenberch is the best. He's one player of the year for the league right now. Whatever Rodrigo was for City last year, Gravenberch is doing that for you right now,
Oh, he's amazing.
comfortably. The question mark is, can you do it for the second half of the season? We're literally
That's
half.
true.
You have one less game played because the Everton match, but let's say on argument's sake, we're halfway through the season. You're there.
Yeah.
You tend to repeat what you've done. You've beaten everyone. Just do it. Go do it again. This is
I
where
mean, we need to be a little bit better. We need to be a little bit
yeah.
better because we need to get to 101 points. We need 101 points. We need to beat Man City's record.
I mean, that would be ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, when you talked about anyone winning the title comfortably and like never stressing, I think that City 100-point team was just nuts. There wasn't one moment from like the second week of the season where you thought City weren't going to win it. Even though we were neck and neck for the first 5-6 weeks, it just was silly afterwards. And they had that luck. I remember the Liverpool game was super tight. And then Mane gets sent off for a stupid straight red card when he was just kicking the ball. He clipped Edison a little bit, gets sent off. We got against 10 men, City win 5-0, and that just gives them the momentum.
Do, do, do you know why he kicked that ball? Did you hear that story?
No, it's one of those ones. Ball's in the air. He's got eyes on the ball. The keeper comes rushing out. It's one of those things in football. It's happened a few times over the last decade where
No,
players.
he was stressing about his upcoming marriage to a 14-year-old. Did you hear about his marriage?
I didn't hear about his marriage. What happened?
He married this girl who was like he literally married her when she was like 18 years and like 2 days old. And it's like so you've been and it's like he's been dating her for like 5 years. So it's like people were like, wait,
That
you
was
were
my
dating her when she was 13? Like what the fuck? Anyway, I completely agree, Graham. McAllister is a little bit more of like the Goretzka, I feel. He's a little bit more of like a
box the
like
box.
yeah. He's less of a pure defender. Like
Yeah,
if we were playing like a 4-3-3, like a proper 4-3-3, and McAllister was our defensive mid, I'd feel a little bit wary because it's like I don't trust him to really be that defensive anchor. But in a 4-2-3-1, He's really good.
You lose a lot when you play the 4-3-3. Even though McAllister can do the job defensively, it's not his thing. I think the attacking output potential you lose outweighs the defensive gains you get from him. It's a waste putting him there. He didn't
Yeah,
have
100%.
because Gravenberch was injured. Endo wasn't really up to scratch halfway through the season. Endo's a good player, but he's not a starting
Yeah,
Premier League.
he's a good sub.
He's a good sub. No, he's definitely a good
Yeah,
squad player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking him, but if you're
yeah.
looking to the league against a proper Man City, he's not your starting number 6. It's simple as
No.
that. So I think
Him, Simicas, um,
I think
are,
Simikas
are, are both are both really good. Harvey Elliott is a good sub. Um, yeah. So I mean, if I were to play this as a 4-3-3, obviously the four would be the same. Gravenbach would be the DM out of McAllister and Jones over here. And then and then I'll put Gakpo in the middle, Diaz on the left, and Salah on the right. Like I would never play McAllister as a proper defensive mid, as you were just saying.
I can't believe how low Tottenham are. I thought everyone was well ahead of us. They're only 2 points ahead. Jesus. No wonder. People are saying Ange might get sacked. That's sacrilege to me. Ange should not.
So many teams are just shitting the bed. So obviously we've talked about it. ManU 22, Tottenham they're 24.
Honestly, I wouldn't even mind the relegation battle as long as you guys weren't flying at the top. It's really, like everyone's like, oh my god, relegation. I'm like, look, I trust this manager. Ferguson's first 2 seasons, he finished 12th and 13th. I'd rather be fucking 14th for 2 years and get Rashford and all the trash out of the club and have a complete fresh restart than like finish 5th and 6th and think we're okay and paper over the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: you're not actually in relegation.
Dude,
like
honestly,
let's
I'm
be
enjoying
real.
it. I'm enjoying the relegation battle. It's a different kind of stress. We're not going to win the top. Let's just avoid the drop. That's my new motto for the season. We're not going to win the top. Let's avoid the drop. Let's avoid.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, for you to get relegated, you would need Crystal Palace, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich to outscore you.
Another Liverpool fan the other day, my good friend, sent me the actual statistical odds of us going down, 0.1%. And I told him the same thing I tell everyone. Never tell me the odds. I never want to know the odds of shit like this. Because I know what my life's like. I've beaten some of these odds. So it wouldn't surprise me if it happens. But
it's just been a crazy year. Like if you look at these standings, they are fucking insane. If somebody had like if we were in a league of like people like picking positions and like somebody came in with this, we'd just be like, wait, did your girlfriend pick this? Like you know what I mean? Like it'd just be like Man City 6th, Tottenham 11th. Like who picked this? You know what I mean?
Do you believe I keep an eye out on Arsenal's results and I pray they win? That's how bad it's gotten. Like I celebrate Arsenal winning because at least they're in touching distance. They've played a game more. Don't get me wrong. I get that. So potentially 9 points. But when I see a 6-point gap with 19 games gone, I still hold on to a glimmer of hope. A glimmer.
Yeah. Here's your problem. One of our game in hand is against Everton.
At their stadium, the last game ever played at their stadium. And if anyone can get a fucking result, Sean fucking Dyche. Let's fucking go, Everton.
All right. Well, with that, let's go into the lines. We have Tottenham versus Newcastle. I use a different line place for these lines, so
you got better odds or worse odds?
I'm not sure. I just couldn't find the other one. For some reason I can't remember. Every week when I do this, I can't remember what set I use.
Newcastle, Brighton, Arsenal. There's some big fucking games this week.
Obviously, yeah.
R1, which I will not be betting on. Tottenham, Newcastle. Those are all pretty decent odds. I'm gonna put 200 on Tottenham. They need a win. They need a win.
I'm gonna put 100 on a tie.
I was looking at the tie, but I feel like I don't feel great when I put the ties down because I feel like I'm half-assing it sometimes. The odds
but you, it's funny. Last week I misread the bets while I was watching the games, so I was rooting for a game to be a tie because I thought you had bet on one of the teams and I'd bet on the tie, and then it turned out after the game because this tie happened. I was celebrating, and then I looked at the thing. I was like, wait a second, a neck bet on the tie and I bet on the team. So I was pissed off about that. But okay, yeah, I mean, the tie is just a coward's move by me, but yeah, I'm feeling a tie. Man City, West Ham.
City odds ain't shit again anymore. West Ham are dog shit as well. They could have gone. It could have been 1-1 against you like at one point. Kudos hit the fucking post, and then you guys go and score 2 back to back straight away and just put the game out of the water. So fuck it. I'm gonna put 50 on City. The odds ain't great. I just put 50 on City.
I'm gonna do another tie.
See, those odds are great. 525, great odds.
I don't believe in West Ham enough for them to actually win the game, but like
I don't even think they'll tie, but City have mistakes in them still. You know what? Fuck it. Put 100 tie on me as well. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go for this. This one's too good to turn down.
yeah, I mean, until City show me something different, I
They
mean,
need to signings. That's what they really need to do.
maybe they have, and I just haven't been paying attention. So they beat Leicester, they tied Everton, they lost to Villa, they lost to you, they lost to Juve. Oh, the thing I was gonna say with Juve, there's a deal on the table for a $5 million loan for Nunez to Juve with an obligation to buy for 45 million plus. So basically,
who's
what?
Nunez? Which team's Nunez? Your Nunez, the striker?
Yeah.
Fuck out. Wait, how much?
So the total deal is 50 million. 5 now, 45 in a year, basically.
You take that?
I'm
January. You let him go in January right now.
I'm of two minds about it. I think that it is a great deal for Nunez. From a purely financial perspective, I think it's a great deal for him. Getting 50 cents on the 80 cents, whatever that is, 70 cents on the dollar, I think is a great return for him. That being said, like, as we've kind of talked about, I'm not as pissed about Nunez anymore as I was before. Like, I think that he's doing like here's the thing with Nunez now. If you once you accept that he's going to fuck up once a game, you're not angry at him anymore. Like you see the fuck up and you're like, okay, well, cool. That's what happens. Once a game, he's gonna fuck up. But he has great crosses. He has great link up play. He makes some good hard shots. And we need all the ammunition we have right now for our fight.
I think it would be criminal. I would love it personally. I think it would be criminal if you sent him on loan or did whatever in January and then A, didn't even replace him, or B, whoever you bought in, because he doesn't score you goals. Don't look at him as an £85 million player. Look at him in this system, the defensive work he's doing, the way he contributes to the team, makes the others. He's not a Bobby Firmino or Carlos Tevez, but he still makes the people around him better. Do you see what I mean? Like he whatever he's doing right now is working.
I think he's the second highest goal scorer right now on our team. He might be fourth.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a few people up there. Diaz must be up there after Salah. Diaz has to be second, surely.
Yeah, so Salah's at 29, Diaz is at 20. I think that Nunez is either tied at 20 or at like 19. Let's see this. They do it by like league, which I hate. Okay, so in the EPL, he's at 2, which is not good. But like,
I think Oyland might have more goals than him now.
Let's see Champions League.
I know he's got a few in the Champions League.
So he has. I mean, I don't really care about the other league goals, so let's just like look at those two. But my internet is fucked up. But oh no, he only has 1.
He's only got 3 goals.
Okay, well then fuck that.
But for me, I think just the way he's gelling with the squad and the team play and the fluidity of your attack, I would love for you not to stick him on loan and then fuck it up. And he might only score 6 goals in the season, but those 6 goals might come in games that get you over the line.
Yeah, I want to keep him, especially because like, look, I mean, the season's long. We're probably gonna have an injury, like realistically, right? Mohamed Salah, Also, like, you can't look past the fact that Mohamed Salah for 2 years now has had an incredible drop off in February. So I actually wanna show this because it's insane. Like 2022 season stats. Like these stats are actually insane. Um, let's see. Where I think it's it, I think Transfer Market has the best visualization of it. Like I actually like crunched the numbers, and pre-January his stats were better than Holland's like big season. But like look at
So
this, right?
he's basically Steph Curry. First half of the season, he fucking kills it, and then in the playoffs, he starts fucking withering, or injuries, or the burnout happens. I get it. I get it.
So this is Salah, right? He basically averages a goal a game. This is basically a goal a game because like three. So this is 1-1, 2 1-1. It's basically a goal a game and an assist every other game, right? So he's averaging one goal a game, half an assist per game. This is after the national team.
Was
In
he get a bad injury as well?
no,
What season is this?
in
2020.
this is 2022. This is the big season.
He had the injury, didn't he? He had an injury. He went up to the World Cup and wasn't really 100%. Yeah, no, I'll give him credit, even though he's a Liverpool scumbag. He had that injury. He was never the same. I don't think he fully recovered. I think he played injured the rest of that year, if I'm being honest. I don't think he was 100%. I'll give him
Let's
credit.
let's not give him credit. This is after he literally did not score a single goal in past the second leg of the Champions League. Not a single goal. This
Love
this is
it.
why you need Nunez. This is why you need Nunez.
Yeah,
Like
because you'll get those 6 goals in those 6 games and you'll win fucking everything.
he might get one. Here's the thing: when Salah is on, he is the best in the world. When he
Yeah.
is off, he is shit.
What do you
And
think about his comments as well, though? Because my friends, it's killing my friends. One of my friends is adamant, like, he's the best Liverpool player of all time. He absolutely adores him. And now he's saying, like, oh, yeah, he's definitely going to sign, give him whatever he wants. But he keeps coming out every week. Like, even I think he did an interview yesterday. He goes, yeah, this is my last Christmas in Liverpool. I'm not really, still
I
nothing's
think
happened.
it's a negotiating thing by him. But
Every week,
to be
every week.
honest with to be honest, like if he left, I would not be like. I mean, obviously, like I'll be pissed. I would be upset. Like I'll be happy, but mostly I'd be happy for him. Hopefully, he goes to Saudi. He gets a huge
Nowhere else to
paycheck.
go. Yeah, there's nowhere else left to go.
Dude, he's 33 years old. Like realistically, how many years does he actually have left?
Two solid years, I think he's got.
Okay. So we're basically paying for Kobe in 2013.
Yeah, which
Is basically
and it happens to all these players, Aubameyang, Rashford, Ozil. When they get that fat contract, they never play the same. I'm telling you. Same thing happened with Salah. When Salah got the last fat contract, he didn't really play. He wasn't really hitting the numbers. There's something about being down to your last 6 months on a contract. You turn into the Michael Jordan of your sport.
I also think like look, like legacy contracts are not smart moves in football. Like they're nice for the fans, they're nice for the team, they're nice for everything, but they hurt your ability to win. And so if Salah leaves, obviously I'll say great things about it. I'll never say a bad word about Salah. Like even his shit performance in 2022, like the reason why we were in that position was because of his incredible performance at the beginning of the year. But take the money, man. Like he has 2 years to make. Like, think about this in Saudi Arabia. Think how much money he can make in Saudi Arabia. Think how much money Neymar and Ronaldo are making in Saudi Arabia. And he is actually a Muslim. He is actually an Arab.
He'll be a god out there. He'll be a
He would
god
be
out
a god, 100%. So anyway,
there. Question after you, actually. So, from your point
yeah.
of view, this is very interesting. I like talking about this with because your opinion is very different to the usual Liverpool fans I get with. So, it's interesting to hear the variety. So Mo Salah stays. Let's say this is the deal. You either lose him, he goes for free, but let's say he wins you a bunch of stuff, or even win or lose or draw, he goes. Great, thanks for the memories, this and that. You then have whatever money you save on the potential wages to reinvest in the squad, get the likes of, that Napoli winger, Kvasharelli, whatever his name is. Get whatever players you want.
The Georgian guy.
Georgian guy, or whoever. Let's say, there's some
Yeah.
Bayern Shirky's another one you guys are looking at. There's people there. There's actually a young Egyptian winger. I can't remember what team he plays for. He's basically like Mo Salah Jr. They're saying, and you guys are very interested in him as well. I can't remember his fucking name now, but I think he plays in the German league. Oh, I'll get it. I'll do it in a second. So Mo Salah goes. Thanks for the memories. You save whatever the wages would have been, or you give him. I believe it's a 3-year contract he wants, which is quite a lot for 33. 500 plus K a week for 3 years. And let's say, we don't know how it turns out potentially. So imagine you're stuck with him. He's not really firing, and all that money. And you remember Liverpool's run sustainably, so they're not going to keep the problem. It's one or the other. So either you lose a great and you reinvest all that cash, or you keep the great and that cash is gone for 3 years. And
I've been saying get rid of Salah for over a year now, so I'm completely fine with us getting rid of Salah. I think that in pretty much of any sport, I think, and I've been at one time or another a pretty intense fan of football, F1, American football, basketball, and baseball. So like I think I have a pretty wide breadth of sports that I like really know a lot about. I think that wingers in football are probably the most overrated position, I'd say. I don't think there's a more overrated position because the closest comp I think is probably like running back in the NFL, but that's mainly because of the shift in position, not because of actual like overrating. It's basically because like right now we think of running backs the same way that they were 20 years ago. 20 years ago they were very important. Nowadays they're not important at all. Like they're so interchangeable in American football, right? And I think that so like if you when look so in baseball there is a statistic called WAR, which is wins over replacement, which is basically it's not an actual stat, it's a derivative stat, right? Because obviously, like you can't actually know that, but it's basically like can you calculate how many actual wins does this person give you, right? So like 5 wins or something, or 7 wins, right? And I think that with wingers you can't and strikers you can't look at their goals numbers, you have to look at goals over replacements, right? So like let's say we were to put a standard winger in a standard top tier winger in that spot, right? Which is like Liverpool, no matter what, is going to have a top tier right winger, right? Like we're going to find somebody who's pretty good, right? Like, does Salah actually get that many more goals than that person? Does he actually? So let's pick a winger who like we could possibly replace him with. Like who are you thinking? Who?
Rodrigo, Rodrigo at Real Madrid.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say we exchange Salah for Rodrigo. So Salah's at 29 goals for the season. I think that if Rodrigo was given the keys to the team, if he was like, you're now the new Salah, we're gonna play you the same way we played Salah, I think Rodrigo gets 24 goals, 25 goals.
Kyle Saka. Arsenal's Saka moves to you lot. You lot let Salah go. Saka goes to Liverpool. What do you think?
I think Saka has 26, 27 goals.
I think that'd be an incredible signing. I think that would be some fucking man.
I'll be all for it.
That'd be ridiculous. Arsenal fans would have a meltdown. Could you imagine?
Oh, of course, yeah. But my
I would be shocked if Liverpool don't at least put a bid in just to take the piss, just to test
I
the waters.
I think that there are obviously some strikers and some wingers who I think are kind of transcendent, but I think that the number of transcendent wingers and strikers is very, very, very low. Like very low. I think right now the only person in that category for me is Holland. The only person. I
Even
think that
even in the current state of play.
yeah, given the current state of play, given the current thing, I think the only person who you take the person out from the offense and the team has a measurable drop is Holland. I think that, like, for example, even like you take out, Vinny from Real Madrid, I think you could slot someone else into that position fairly well. I just think that, like, you know, I don't actually think that it's I think it's about having the chances and making the most of them. But, in the past 15, 20 years, you have, Messi, Ronaldo, Holland, maybe a couple more people. I think that those are the only people who can really not replace. I'd much rather pay for a really good for like a Kevin De Bruyne
Yeah.
or a Rodri or somebody like that. Although Rodri, I think, is a little bit different. So I'm kind of going on a rant here, but like I'd rather spend more money on the rest of the pitch and have some bargain bin attackers,
Yeah.
which by the way is what Pep does. Like I remember 3 years ago, me and a couple of friends were looking at Pep's, we're comparing the starting 11s of every team, and we were like, who's actually the starting front three in Man City? We have no idea. Is it Raheem Sterling today? Is it, Phil Foden? You know, um, but yeah, that's kind of my rant about it, about why like I'm not for paying Mo Salah 500 quid a week. That's ridiculous. 500,000. I'd love to pay him 500, but yeah, I'm saying like not 500,000. I think that'd be club suicide.
I think that's what he's wanting. So I think he wants 500K plus, and he wants it over 3 years, I believe. Not that
Yeah,
I'm on the inside on the negotiations, but at the moment, because you guys have that good rule of like over 30s only get 1 year extensions. They've offered him two before, and he said yes. So the reason he might be saying no is because I think two might not be enough, or maybe you guys are sticking to one. But three, I feel like he wants three. 36, go to Saudi another couple of years, and then chill on the beach, retire.
I I think the reason why I'm for it in a way that the other Liverpool fans aren't, I mean, being like a more recent Liverpool fan, is like you have to remember I spent my childhood and my life being a fan of the New York Knicks, the New York Jets, teams that would do these types of things and re-sign Mo Salah. One of the reasons why I love Liverpool is because they make the shrewd decisions. I've never had a club in my life make a single shrewd decision.
Picked a good time to support him because they were dog shit up until about 2017, 2018. They didn't
Yeah,
have a, and they really fucking turned it around, honestly.
Jurgen Klopp.
No, even Klopp was part of that system, but when they brought in like
Yeah,
Edwards, your Julian Wards, all this like all the data analytics and stuff came in, that switched it around. What you're
yeah,
describing was the Man United I grew up with. Shrewd decisions, tough decisions, players going and thinking, no, I love this guy, but they would rebuild. They would rebuild. So
exactly. I mean, it's what the New England Patriots did for 20 years.
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
reason why they were so successful. The Knicks would never do that. And let me tell you, the Knicks are not a successful basketball
They're
team.
a good team this year. They're doing pretty well this year. Like I
They're
feel like
third, but we're about to have. I mean, like our best season that people remember are the '90s Knicks, and the '90s Knicks got to the NBA Finals one time. So that was our heyday. Getting to the finals once. um, Southampton, Brentford. What are you thinking?
100 on Brentford.
Whew, whew.
Brentford, they just lost to Arsenal. That was a tough game. They need to turn around. They'll turn it around. They're above us, so I have to think they're going to win.
Yeah, I'm sorry to follow you on this one, but I agree with you.
This fucking Chelsea, man. Broke my heart all Christmas. We haven't won United haven't won a game since I was in New York. City was the last time when I was in New York, we played City. They haven't won since.
Chelsea's minus 108.
35. They're 10 points behind with the game in hand. Oh my God. Chelsea, you bottle jobs.
This is ridiculous for me. I'm putting 300 on Chelsea. If Chelsea can't win this will be insane.
I'm gonna put 100 on the tie. This is gonna be the decider this week.
I think this is an overreaction by Vegas. I think that Chelsea lost to Ipswich. I think people are like, oh, but it's like good teams lose to bad teams all the time in football. Like that's a ridiculous number, minus 108.
Palace
Uh
back in Glasner's doing all right. I think Adam Wharton should be back in the matchday squad. He'll win the midfield battle. Chelsea, I think Lavia's still out injured. Yeah, I think a tie. It's gonna be a tie. Palace away is a tough game as well. Hostile atmosphere.
Bournemouth, Everton.
Has to be Bournemouth, surely. They might have still flying.
Bournemouth have 30 points, Everton has 17 with a game in hand.
8 points ahead of us. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go 100 on. Oh, you know what? I'm stick 100 on the tie just because I like those odds. Actually, no. Bournemouth at home, Everton. Put the 100 on the win. 100 on the win.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, I keep looking at the numbers, but my head's not right. My heart knows what it's talking about. It knows that Bournemouth are going to smack Everton up.
Villa draw Leicester.
Ooh. So kind of a local match. East Midlands versus the West Midlands, kind of the Midlands in general. Villa, Leicester. It's gonna have to be 100 on Villa, isn't it? There's no other way.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 100. I'm gonna put 50 on Leicester. I think this is weird. I mean, I know that Leicester are at the bottom of the table, but like Villa is not the Villa of last year.
Man, this story, I don't like rooting against them. Oh,
Brighton tie Arsenal. We both have $300 left, 3 games. Although you're not betting on this one, I'm guessing.
yeah, definitely not betting on that one. I kind of almost don't want to bet on this because I need Arsenal to keep in touch with you lot. It's like gonna be a tough game for Arsenal.
Here, I'm gonna switch this in a second. Brighton's 10th, Arsenal's 2nd. You have to remember, man, crazy stuff's been happening all season
You know
to
what?
like suppress everyone else's points.
I'm gonna stick 100 on Brighton because that way, if Arsenal fuck up and piss me off, at least I win money on Brighton. If Brighton lose money, at least Arsenal fucking did the business. Hopefully,
I think 50 on tie. Like one thing, I can like pull up the numbers at some point, but like I feel like what has been happening this year is that every single team that's in second to Liverpool has tied or lost. Like there's been a revolving carousel in the top four where like one team is close. This happened last week. Chelsea was second.
no one wants it. Honestly, no one
No
wants it.
one wants it. Fulham draw Ipswich. Are Fulham still good?
I mean, they
They're,
drew two.
they're dropped to 8th.
I just love Fulham for drawing with you lot. Again, I was in New York. I didn't expect that. I woke up to that result when you texted me. So I was like, fuck
Yeah.
I'm put 100 on Fulham. Let's go, fucking Fulham. Let's go. Fuck you, Ipswich. Fuck you,
Okay.
Ipswich. Fuck.
So you have 100 left. I'm gonna put a draw. I think Ipswich is feisty. I think they're a feisty team.
Ipswich, man. Fucking Ed Sheeran.
Liverpool tie ManU. I'm putting 100 on the tie. I think that
What is this?
yeah,
What
I'm putting 100 on the tie.
Oh, you. Come on, back your team, lad. Come on.
No, I'm here.
Can't beat lowly 14th at home. Come on, lad.
I'm here to make money, bro. I'm here to beat you. No, here's my feeling about this is that like we've seen this over the course of the last few years where like Liverpool, Man U. I mean this happens a lot in American football. I think that's why I have so much respect for it. Where like you have these divisional rivalries where it does not matter what the records are. It does not. It doesn't matter. Like these are teams that have played each other for decades. They know each other inside and out. We've seen this during like last year. Liverpool like kicked the shit out of you while we were down. No. Last year you kicked the shit out of us.
We just ruined your lot season. Didn't beat us all season. That was a problem. It was a dodgy tie. A crazy game at Old Trafford. We knocked you out in the FA Cup on the way to winning. We derailed your season last year.
Exactly. There was the year before where we were shitty and we beat the shit out of you.
Fucked us up 7-0. You fucked us up at Anfield, yeah.
Yeah, and otherwise we had a terrible season. I think it was the year before that or the year before that you beat us pretty resoundingly. So like this game, like there's no relation to reality for it. I could definitely see like a 2-2.
This is a one game where form goes out the window. It's crazy. I mean, look at those odds, 750. Even now, even though I never bet on United because I know we always fuck it up, I'm half tempted just by looking at those numbers. But no.
And here's the thing about Man United. Like this is the difference between like a Man United and like pretty much Man United are kind of like Chelsea last year. Where like even though like the record is terrible, like you have an elite squad of players. Like
we're proving we don't. They literally, I don't know what they're doing. Like, look at that. Ericsson, Casemiro, and I can't wait to see that. If Casemiro goes to Saudi, honestly, like I would be. That's all I want for Christmas. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, but here's the you guys have like actually like a an elite squad of players. Like let's not putting all that shit aside. Like you really like Fernandes, Anthony,
Oh,
Rashford. These were all great players at some point. And this isn't like we're playing Everton. This isn't like we're playing Brentford. Like we're playing a team with like legit players. And if you guys ever clicked, you would be a good squad. And that's the problem. But like with these type of divisional games, you guys can click just because it's Liverpool versus ManU.
I hope
And
so.
so
If they had anything about them, if I had any hope for them, I think as shit as we are, we can turn up to Anfield. But I don't trust these fucking bottle jobs. I don't trust. He needs to really pick the team. It needs to be Mainu Ugarte in that midfield. It needs to be Fernandez, Ahmad. It needs to be Hoyland up top. We cannot, and at the back three has to be Delict, Euro, Martinez. We cannot have any passengers in this starting lineup. Like it has to. We can't give Ericsson half a chance. We can't give fucking
yeah.
any of these passenger players, Lindelof, Maguire. Maguire is probably going to start, which is going to piss me off. But we cannot have. We need to be our absolute. We need to play out of our skins.
Yeah.
And it might not be enough. We still might lose 4-0. That's the problem.
Yeah. But I mean if you guys play out your skins, I can see a 2-2.
I would take it right now. I would take both your hands. If you offered me a 2-2, I'd rip both your arms off. Happily. Right now. Just to drop the point, honestly, just to take something.
We each have $100 left. Wolves versus Nottingham.
Ooh. This is also very interesting because they're both like Nottingham's East Midlands as well. Wolves is Midlands. Interesting. The Villa Leicester game has to be on separate days to the Wolves Nottingham. That's gonna be mad traffic in the Midlands, otherwise. It must be on separate days. Yeah, Nottingham. Yeah, I must take 100 in Nottingham.
Here's my feeling about this is that like I've always been wrong about Nottingham Forest. When I thought that they were upsets, they turned out to be frauds for a few weeks, and then I was like, they're frauds, and then they went back to being upsets.
Yeah, I didn't see them going back. Because you were telling me about them in Brighton. I was like, they're going to drop off, and Brighton dropped off quite quickly afterwards. Nottingham Forest dropped, and you're thinking, yeah, but they've gone.
They're
back up.
there. They being third 19 games in is legit. Like I don't care where they end up, they had a
Yeah,
legitimate season.
they've had a good year, but Paul, this could end very badly even now. 19, what, they're 37. Realistically, up until Bournemouth, they could finish as low as 7th by the end of the year. 7 points halfway through the season is nothing.
Let's see this. So who was sixth place last year had 63 points. Sixth place the year before had 62. Sixth place the year before had 58. So they realistically need around 60 to 62 points, I'd say. They're already at 37, so they need 23 more points.
That's. I know you're going off previous seasons, but this season, if anything, but I don't look at just the points. I look at who's below them, who's in the running. City, if they sign a few players, Chelsea are going to click again. Newcastle could finish up. So Villa are about to sign Daniel Malen, the Dutchman from Borussia Dortmund.
Well, really?
Yeah, they're in deep talks, and they're going to send Philogene, the young striker, to.
Does that make sense for them?
Honestly, I think for Emery's style of play, he needs those pacey strikers up top, pacey wingers to fucking transition. I can see it being a shrewd sign.
No, true, but like he hasn't really been playing as a fortress this year. Like you look at the games, the goals conceded, and it's 31. Like he's not like his problem is his defense, not his offense, right?
Maybe he feels he needs more pace. I think it's one of those.
That's true. Maybe if he got more pace, yeah, you're right.
For those, I think it's more squad depth as well. So I think he's looking at, all right, we get one in, we'll let one go. So the young striker Philogene, he's had an all right. He's a good player. They might ship him off on loan or do one of those sell and buy back clauses and get Malen in and push strong. Because
I actually heard Malen being linked to
for a long time. He was linked to Liverpool back in the day, Arsenal. He's ex-Arsenal academy.
Yeah, I heard Liverpool being linked with him. I like him. He's good.
Oh, he turns on, especially international level. He did well at the World Cup. So
He's 25, so he has a good 5, 6 years left.
Yeah, no, he's a solid player, and for the likes of Villa, it's a shrewd signing.
Yeah,
They're probably
but
Emery's probably looking at second half of the season, Premier League and Champions League, resting Ollie Watkins in some games where we're playing Milan instead. It's squad management. It's shrewd. It's smart.
here's the problem with Malin though. It's like, do you really want to get a winger for Borussia Dortmund? Like,
I'm surprised Dortmund is selling him. Honestly, he does well for Dortmund. He causes
yeah.
problems. I'm actually shocked Dortmund is selling him. It must be a financial thing where they need the money.
Um,
18 million.
where are they right now?
Dortmund must be top three, surely. I know Bayern beat them, not sure. Oh,
They're
fuck me.
sixth.
But they're only, what, 6 points off top of
And
second.
were they in Champions League?
They're top eight, nine.
They're nine. Nine's good.
Yeah, they'll easily qualify for the next phase. Where are PSG?
Yeah,
Oh, look at Man City, 22nd.
yeah.
What do
Real
you think?
Madrid 20th.
Imagine City don't make it. Imagine City only need to drop 2 more places to be out. Or sorry, 3 more places to be out. Imagine, because City are playing PSG next in the Champions League. That's what's crazy. One of them is not going to make it. One of them
Yeah.
make it. So imagine Man City get knocked out of Europe by 3 incredible players in January and they have no distractions. They just go for the Premier League. Imagine that. Imagine the second half of the season where City have one goal in mind with a revamped squad.
Would that be a 5-peat for them?
Yeah. 4-peat's never been done in the history of the competition, even in the olden times.
Yeah, I mean, they're 17 points behind.
That would be the
That's
biggest comeback in Premier League history.
that's really hard to do.
It would be a very interesting side note to the season.
I
How you
mean,
guys?
I would tip my hat off to it. I mean, like, we are definitely going to be dropping points in the second half of the season. There's no question about it. Like,
Jesus.
because you always have those weeks where they schedule, Real Madrid on Tuesday, Arsenal on Saturday, and then Real Madrid on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, it always happens.
Saturday morning 12:30 kickoff and then another Wednesday, Tuesday late night game. Especially
Speaking of which, I said this to the chat, but I'm very proud about this. I played FIFA again for the first time in like years, and I played against my girlfriend's brother, and he played as Real Madrid, and I played against Wrocław, which is the town in Poland that my family's from. Like, the average player was like a 65, beat him 6-1. What can I say? I'm that good.
Yeah, the game, and you're obviously not a bad player.
All right, so we did our picks. My girlfriend's gonna start yelling at me soon, but I think we have some time to talk about some football. What's kind of top of mind that we haven't already covered?
Relegation battle United, Liverpool sitting pretty, the Salah situation.
I know that this topic has already been covered like in nauseum, but like, is it just me or does it feel like Cole Palmer has come out of nowhere?
So I didn't really see much of him at Man City. I remember he scored one screamer the year they won the treble. It was a cup game and he just fucking hit top bin. He's like, what a player. Guardiola let these guys go. Him, Julian Alvarez, all these players go. And now he's got, and it's hindsight's 2020, obviously, because even he said, he goes, look, when you got De Bruyne, Rodri, all these other players, Bernardo Silva, everyone, Foden, everyone playing on their peak, Mahrez at the time, you're not going to be able to get, Palmer's not going to get the game time he wants. So you let him go. And City, that's one thing I respect. Same thing you respect with Liverpool. No players held at ransom. You want to go, as long as we get a good price, fuck off.
Yeah.
United, we hold on to trash for some reason. We should be letting him go.
Yeah.
We just gave Maguire and we just activated Maguire's 1-year extension, his contract. He's here for at least one more year.
Alvarez was a shocking departure for me because there were people, I thought it was a stupid argument to make, but I thought it was kind of legitimate. There were people arguing that Alvarez was actually the engine behind City's offense and it wasn't Holland. Because they got Alvarez the same year as Holland. Now, I think they're wrong, but I think that if you have somebody where legitimate soccer fans are making the argument that he is actually the guy, like, why are you letting that guy go?
Not gonna lie, I kind of, not that he's the guy, but he suits City better than Haaland did. Guardiola's system, Alvarez is better suited than Haaland was, and you're seeing it right now in terms of issues. The reason Haaland got a lot of goals, he's a machine, is because of Kevin fucking De Bruyne. When De Bruyne plays, he will find Haaland. That's not a problem. Whereas Alvarez can link up with your Fodens, can link up with Mahrez, can link up with Bernardo, can link up with Sterling. He can make things work. I don't think he actually played with Sterling.
So I actually like so this is kind of a weird argument for me to make because I agree with their central premise, but I disagree with the implication of it. Like the problem with Pep's teams ever since Barcelona obviously is that he's he's always optimized for the wingers, but he hasn't had like a true striker. I mean was he at Bayern at the same time as Lewandowski or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had Lewandowski, but like the Man City teams have never had a real striker, I feel. Even Sergio, yeah, but Sergio Aguero is not like
what? Aguero, he's had Ibrahimovic, he's had Eto'o, he's had Lewandowski, he's had
that's true.
You could need. He just does things his own way. He's a mad scientist, and power to him, it works for him. The two reasons Alvarez left, one, which I know for a fact, it was crazy money, 82 million. You can't say no to that. That's fucking insane money for
Julian. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Number two, which is a bit more on your Sunday back page gossip columns in the British media, is Guardiola's daughter had the biggest crush on Alvarez, and I think there might have been some.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, his daughter was mad for Alvarez. Like there's video.
Okay.
She looked at when they would celebrate the trophies and stuff, and Guardiola found out, and Alvarez knew, I think, as well. So I don't know if any Wilf Sahar, David Moyes kind of daughter situation happened when Guardiola was like, "Get the fuck out," but that's just Sunday.
Let me. I want to push back on this. I want to push back on this. So first of all, like you're not gonna convince me that Sergio Aguero is a top tier striker. I'm not accepting this.
What's he missing? Finishing, positional play, link up play. What does he miss? Height? He still scored headers.
No, I think on paper he's a great striker, but he's not Haaland.
But no, who is Haaland though? Like Ruud van Nistelrooy, Henry's, like they're the only ones that are getting similar. Andy Cole back in his heyday, like they're the only ones getting kind of crazy numbers like that. Aguero still got 30 goals in all competitions every year, and he's never had a season where he wasn't injured. He'd miss at least a third of the season, maybe even a quarter or a third of the season, and he'd still get you 28, 30 goals a year.
I'm saying Aguero reminds me. Okay, this is gonna seem like it's contradicting my argument, but like okay. So here's the point that I'm gonna make. Okay, you're right. My phrasing was wrong. What I mean by it is this: is that like obviously there's a whole array of strikers of different types of strikers, right? Aguero is kind of more of a winger striker. Of an attacking midfield striker. He's not a guy to just sit in the box and wait for stuff and just finish.
I disagree. I think you'd probably see him in Pep's system do more of that attacking mid number 10 play, but he's an out-and-out finisher. Like when he was playing under Mancini, when he was under
I'm talking strictly in Pep's system is what I'm talking about.
He had to adapt to Pep's game, but he still was an out-and-out finisher. In Pep's not
100%. I mean, I think of Sergio Aguero kind of as a this might just be because they look so much alike, in my opinion, but it's kind of like a cheap version of a Luis Suarez.
Well, that's because they diminish you. Now, yeah, you're thinking because of the
yeah. Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is this: is that like Pep's offensive systems are really good at like having a lot of people running around, creating a lot of stuff. The problem is that last 5%, right? Is that last finishing? Is that at the end of the day you have Raheem Sterling taking a shot, and you're like, why is Raheem Sterling taking that shot? Well, because there's nobody else really there to take the shot, right?
Couldn't score at Liverpool, but Sterling at City, we used to laugh before when he went there. When Guardiola came, Sterling was getting 20 goals a year, top bin finishes.
Exactly. I'm just saying like he's really good at getting 95% there, right? What I'm saying is like the thing that I think Pep system missed is like that perfect finishing ability in the box. And I remember at the beginning of that season, Haaland's first season, I was talking with my friends in my group chat, and we agreed that it was either going to be a complete disaster or one of the most amazing seasons you've ever seen because they have all of these people who are great at creating chances. And it's like if Haaland can just finish these chances, he's gonna break the record. You're gonna have all these wins, and I think that that's what Haaland gave the team is that ability of just like, look, we have 50 wingers here creating stuff. Just give it to me, and I'm gonna finish it. And people will say like, well, Erling Haaland actually didn't create that. Fuck you, Erling Haaland. They never won a Champions League before, and with Erling Haaland, they won a Champions League. So for me, that's all the proof that I need.
Didn't win it the year after with him either as well. So if it was all him, they would have retained it the year after. They came close. Well, they didn't even come close. They got knocked out in the quarters.
But that was against Real Madrid.
Well, they beat Madrid the year before, so in the semis. So what happened, Alan? What happened?
I mean, it's for the past few years, like the Real Madrid Man City game has been the Champions
Whoever
League
wins,
finals.
yeah, whoever wins the whole tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But my other argument is the year before they signed Haaland, they had no out and out striker. There was no one there. They were playing false nines. Gundogan was getting all the fucking goals, the last minute runs, the finishing in. So that's where again, Pep's system. Aguero might not look like he's the out and out striker. That's because he's having to do the other job. But then you've got people like number 8s like Gundogan who have no business getting 10, 15, 20 goals a season. He's the one getting all the goals and finishing all the chances at the end of the
Here's I think is the point that I'm kind of making, and it's kind of the opposite of the point that I was making earlier about wingers and strikers being overrated. I think a lot of them are right, but I think that like you see this a lot, especially in a lot of other sports, but I think it's also really true in football that like there are teams that you look at and you're like they don't have a star, and like at a certain point you need a star. At a certain point, like if Gundogan is the one who you're like we're relying on Gundogan to win the game, like you're kind of in trouble. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the position that they were in for a while. It's like who are you relying on to win the game for you? Is it Gundogan? You don't want that. Is it De Bruyne? De Bruyne is one of the best players on planet Earth. Like I believe that, but he's not going to score the ball for you, right? You're really relying on Phil Foden to win the game for you, and that's what Haaland gave them. I think is like even if Haaland is not going to score, he's going to get so much attention that someone else is going to score. It's going to be like kind of like that. Who's who was that midfielder? I can't remember the guy's name. Um, Barcelona's midfield was Xavi, Busquets, and Iniesta. It's kind of like that Iniesta goal in the semifinals. It's like yes, Iniesta scored, but he scored because everyone was looking at Messi, right? You need that Messi there, is my opinion.
I agree. That's literally when Gundogan got the winning goals. He scored 2 goals in the last 7 minutes, and they beat you lot to the title by 1 point.
Yeah,
You knew how close it was. So the next year, you went and bought Haaland, and then made sure it wasn't even anywhere near close.
yeah.
But a huge thing about the star wingers, Louis van Gaal. If you watch him from his Bayern Munich days, he always had, even from his Ajax days, he always had proper wingers. So when he came to Bayern Munich, they signed Iron Robin. They already had they got Frank Ribery in. Iron Robin, especially on the right hand side, cutting in. When he came to Man United, the signing he wanted the most, the one he pushed for the most, Angel Di Maria, Champions League winning man of the match in the final.
I love him.
To play on that right wing, he would have been his answer to Iron Robin at Bayern Munich. It just didn't work out at United for cultural reasons, and Di Maria couldn't settle. His first 3 games, he scored, and he scored some ridiculous goals, and he just kind of just went sideways and
But by the way, making kind of a transition, I actually think, and by the way, you don't need that Holland necessarily. I think you need that Holland when you have a possession team. When you have a possession team, you need that guy to score because what you have is what happened with Liverpool under Klopp, where you end up having just a bunch of people just masturbating, just like passing the ball, right? But like if you have a counter-attacking team, you don't need a Holland. You just have, a Daniel Mallon who runs really fast and like you're good, right? But I think that's kind of an issue, I think, a little bit with the Real Madrid squad. We're like, I mean, Mbappe is obviously an incredible striker. You can have him hanging out in the box, but like he's not going to hang out in the box, right? So like if you have someone like Vinny, doing what he does, doing his magic on the wing and cutting in, it's like he beat the right back. He's right back by the goal. He's looking for someone to pass to. Who's there? Nobody, right? And that's why you kind of want that Holland there.
I'm intrigued by your take on Wayne Rooney then, because you're describing the Wayne Rooney, what people call the problem. Because Wayne Rooney's that player. If you had 10 Wayne Rooney's on the pitch, you're not losing a game. He could play in defense, he could play in midfield, and obviously he was an out and out striker. Wing might be a bit of an issue for him, but he did that for us as well. But for me, everyone says prime Rooney was when Ronaldo and Tevez, everyone left. We played him as a central striker. He scored 30 goals. He was banging them in. He hated that. Imagine scoring 2 goals a strike and you're coming off the pitch and you're upset because you're just told to stay in the box, the ball will come to you, and you are just to finish it. He was such a technical player, especially for an Englishman at that time. He wanted to get the ball from 30 yards out, knock it about a few bit, ping across in, get more involved in the overall build-up play, as opposed to just being the focal point.
Yeah.
And I actually personally think, silly as it sounds, for me, watching it growing up, idolizing it, Prime Rooney was not the striker he ended up being. Prime Rooney he still had the number 10 on his back, but he was that 8. He was the guy doing the unselfish stuff so that Ronaldo or Tevez or Berbatov or, Giggs or someone else got in, or he did those, he chipped the goalkeeper from outside the box, or some just crazy shit he did. We just controlled the whole play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, from my opinion, like I think that people don't have enough respect for the striker position. And I think that even other players on the pitch don't have the respect for it. Because I think that what happened with I think what happened with Rooney, from my knowledge of it, is that he basically got, as you said, he got bored of just sitting in the box. He's like, I want to do this other stuff. But like Holland isn't just sitting in the box, right? People can say that, but like Holland being here versus here is the difference between a goal and not a goal. And the reason why Holland is so incredible is because he understands exactly where to be. I mean, obviously the best. I mean, we've talked about this nauseum is Inzaghi, right? Inzaghi knew exactly where to be, right? And Inzaghi, I could outrun Inzaghi, right? But like he was just in the perfect position to score that goal. And it's not luck, it is skill. And I think that like Rooney was just bored by like, okay, so you need to be here when this happens. He just didn't think that way. He was like, let me beat a guy, let me do this type of stuff. He just found that to be a whole lot more interesting. Whereas Ronaldo, and I think is what makes Ronaldo so great, is that he could play as a winger and as a striker. Like he was able to excel in both those positions. That's why like I know that this is kind of a cop-out answer, but like for me, like the argument of who's better, Messi or Ronaldo, like for me, it's obviously a fun argument to have, but I think it's just a silly one. I think they're both just like transcendent, once in a lifetime talents, and like they're great. They're great in so many different ways that to compare them, I think, is diminishing them. At least in my personal opinion.
So you don't have a favorite?
Messi. Messi just because first of all, I'm moving to Argentina. And I'm kind of a Argentina football guy. Maradona is my favorite football player of all time.
Like Messi on
Yeah. I mean, Messi to Maradona is Kobe to Michael Jordan. Like Messi is literally just Maradona 2.0.
So speaking of strikers, transcendent strikers, R9. He didn't have to wait in the box. He scored those goals in the box as well, but R9, prime R9, the way he shot the ball, the things he did, that didn't make sense. That's just, to this day, when everyone talks about clinical strikers, I get annoyed some people do say R9, but the number of people that don't even mention his name, or they just, I forgot. This was the guy. Like, he destroyed.
Do I think it's actually kind of funny about that? Is that like, I noticed that too. Nobody ever brings up R9, but players always bring up R9.
They know. Yeah. I mean,
players always bring him up. And
Zlatan never compliments anyone. He'll always say, I'm Zlatan, I'm the best. And they'll ask him, like, who's your, like, nah, R9 was different. I think they played together when they were at Inter. He goes, look, not Inter, sorry. Yeah, maybe it was it. No, Juve or Inter, one of them. They were in the same team for a little while. And even he put his hands up. He goes, no, that R9 he was the original Ronaldo. He was the real. He even says himself the real Ronaldo because he was different. I can't even talk shit. But that man.
Let's see. It was probably Milan. Um, oh, I actually have Ibrahimovic up. Let me
Nah,
see.
that would have way past Ronaldo's prime.
No, you're right. Were they together at Inter?
Because you
Um,
that time played for he played for all three Milan, Inter, and Juve. But I think it was at Inter where they nah because that
yeah. So, Zlatan was Inter 2006, 2009.
oh, well
No, because R9 was at Real at that time. I don't think they were together.
they've definitely played together. I just don't know where. Like in Ronaldo's prime, maybe it couldn't have been Milan either.
No,
Sure, they
I,
played.
I, I don't think that they were ever together.
Oh wow! So maybe just from a distance he admired him. He made it sound like he actually played. Yeah, they knew exactly what it was like. Not Cristiano. Oh, fat Ronaldo. R9.
Fat Ronaldo.
I can't type in fat Ronaldo into.
One second. Uh, uh, ¿Puedes ir con Blanca y cuando tú vuelves finitamos?
Sí,
Está,
¿será que también?
bueno,
Oh, sí.
estamos.
¿Será que sí también? Cuando vuelva.
Sí, estamos.
5 horas.
Sí, 5 horas, estamos. Quiero un doble. Bueno, vas con Blanca. ¿Qué?
Por ejemplo, yo
Wow.
¿Qué?
decir él o yo.
We can call it.
No, she doesn't give me shit. She likes to pretend to be really angry about us talking. She's not actually angry, but like she likes to play the role of just like really toxic Latina. Toxica, see? Yeah, she's a toxica. Um,
I
but
agree
yeah,
with that.
no,
Not use express
she's
panel members.
she's gonna go get us some food, and then when she comes back, we're gonna watch a movie. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, Ronaldo. I mean, again, like there's so many different types of strikers, right? I mean, Holland is kind of like the pure striker. Ronaldo was a little bit more of like an attacking mid.
No, bro. Yeah, Highland is like your Ruud Van Nistelrooys, your Inzaghi's, your absolute goal poachers. You know, you're not gonna. And some people
But
say,
like,
"Oh, they just score in the 6 yard box." That's an absolute skill. That doesn't like you say, it doesn't happen by accident. That's an actual talent. Something
it's
you might
it's
strike.
so weird when people say that because it's just like if it's so easy, why doesn't
Everyone does
everybody
it.
fucking do it?
Why can't the United strikers do it? Why the fuck are we struggling so much? We haven't scored in 3 fucking games.
But like, can I end this because we do have to end soon. But can I end this with like a pretty controversial opinion?
Shoot, go on.
All right. Who? Because I'll ask you to guess. Who do you think I think is the most overrated player?
Ever?
Yeah.
Well, I used to think it was Mbappe, but
I'm talking about all time.
overrated player of all time.
Dígame qué vas a querer.
I'm not too sure actually. I don't know. I don't really know what you would say to that. Go on, shoot.
No, porque eso siempre nada más.
I think it's Pele, man.
Oh wow.
So
Should have seen that coming.
Pele has won 3 World Cups. So Pele's like claim to fame was winning 3 World Cups, right? Because he played for Santos, and obviously like Santos isn't like is in Brazil, right? So he didn't win like any of like the giant things. I mean that's not a knock on him because Maradona has never won a European Cup either, and both of them are considered the greatest, the two greatest players of the 20th century. Let's take a look down memory lane. Now, I know that you know this lineup by heart, but for people who don't, here's the lineup for the 1962 World Cup final, Brazil versus Czechoslovakia, right? So Pele won 3 World Cups, 58, 62, and 70, right? Let's look at the lineup for the Do you notice anything interesting in this lineup?
Well, he's definitely not starting. He might have been injured.
Pele was injured for pretty much the entire tournament, and his team still won a World Cup without him.
Yeah, because he coached them on the sidelines. His aura pushed them through.
Are you saying this? Are you saying this like genuinely, or say this just to be a
Now,
bitch?
2016 European Championship Finals, Portugal beat France. Ronaldo went off inside 10 minutes. He still helped them win. He was literally coaching them on the side of the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm generally of an opinion of if your team is able to win without you on the pitch, you don't really get a lot of credit for that win. If you go down in the final, I think it's different. He went down in like the round of 16. That entire run was basically
Depends on the player, because all right, so 99. Just to end this on just your argument here, 99
yeah.
Champions final win. Roy Keane didn't play the final. He was suspended, and even if he hadn't been suspended, he got injured in the FA Cup final 4 days prior because we actually did win the treble first when anyone starts talking about City. Roy Keane didn't celebrate, kept his suit on, didn't lift the trophy. But Roy Keane scored the comeback goal against Juve in the semi-final. We were down and out. We were 2-0 down. We were out. We weren't going to the final. Roy Keane scored the goal to help us get to the final. He started the comeback. Captain's goal, header from a corner. Now,
No,
would you say,
I'm talking about like if a person is out for like the majority, like if Roy Keane goes down in December, or if he
okay.
goes down in November, is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so let's say Salah. You said in 2022 Salah didn't score after the second leg, last 16. Salah doesn't play the rest of the tournament. Doesn't score the rest of the tournament. You lot win the Champions League. How much credit does Salah get for that?
Very little.
He scored all the way up until the second leg of the last 16.
Very little.
He got injured. What's worse,
I mean,
getting injured and not scoring, or just not scoring but playing every game but not scoring and you still win it? Which one gets more credit then?
I wouldn't give him a lot of credit even if we won. Like I think he played abysmally like that season. Like I think that if so I just looked it up just so I was being sure here. He was injured in the second group match.
So he missed third group match, last 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, 5 games. He only played 2 out of 5. 2 out of 7, sorry.
Yeah, but he missed like the 5 most important games.
Yeah, it's fucking Pele though, isn't it? What are you gonna say to him?
But here's my bigger point. I actually thought that this would be the least of the controversial points. My other controversial point is okay. So his other World Cup that he won was 58. It was the exact same squad plus Pele. If Pele had gone down in the second group match of that season, do you think like
I'll tell you why. Because in 58, they won it for the first time. They got the taste for winning. They got the habits. They understood. The first one's always the hardest. So he got them there. He got them to the mountaintop first, and then he was leading them there again. They got injured because it's the same group of lads, and he led them the first time at 17. They did him.
You're really pushing for this. I mean, the counter argument to that is that like the World Cup they won was only the 6th World Cup of all time. So it's not like
I think Uruguay won the first ever one in 58. I think.
Yeah, it was Uruguay, Italy. Uruguay was Germany, Brazil, England, Brazil, Germany.
England, and then never again.
By the way, so I guess this could actually be the last point. So my children are probably going to be raised in Argentina. It's kind of looking like that. So I mean, who knows? We're moving to Argentina next month. Who knows if we're going to stay or not? So my children will be a quarter Italian, will be a quarter Spanish from my girlfriend's side. Me personally, I'm like in terms of like genetics, I'm like 3/4 Polish, 1/4 German. So they'll be like, 3/4 like 3/8 Polish, 1/8 German. So they'll be part Spanish, part Italian, part German, and part Polish. We've already talked about having great attackers raised in Argentina.
And they'll play tennis.
How many how many World Cups are my kids winning? Over and under.
You're gonna need a coach, so yours truly know.
Do you want to be their coach, their personal coach?
I'm
I'll
gonna
fly
coach
you out.
all my kids' teams. I'm gonna coach. I've had enough. I'm not trusting these guys. I'm gonna coach my kids.
Just one thing, you can't diddle them.
No, that's
You
why
consider-
I'm not trusting the other coaches because of that shit. They're teaching them the wrong tactics, and there's too much diddling going around in the world.
Yeah.
My kids aren't going to Disneyland. Okay, straight fuck that. I can't
Dude,
trust.
you should move down to Argentina with us, man. You need to move down to Argentina.
I will definitely come visit. This year will be the year I do South America at some point. I just got some
You should actually come later in the year because we're probably getting married this year, so you can come for the wedding.
If that's an invite, I will happily accept.
Awesome. So that wedding will only come if we end Footie Talk very shortly, because otherwise she'll murder me. Wait, sorry, what were you about to say?
I said that escalated quickly. We went from you're moving to Argentina to I'm getting married and then kids getting coached. No problem.
Yeah. You'll be in our. Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I fucking love it. Am I going to be what's his
Leon.
name?
You'll be our Leon. Yeah, you'll be. We'll create a guest house for you, and you'll just coach your kids football.
I'm sure I won't be as obnoxious. I won't be as obnoxious as Leon is. Like,
I'm hoping for more obnoxious, to be honest. Because I'm not obnoxious anymore. I'm a married man.
That's Vijay. If you want Leon Black in your guest room, that's Vijay. That's Vijay coming in. Oh.
Okay, she's actually gonna kill me. So I'm gonna hop off now. I'm gonna stop this recording.